I Am Lucille Ball by Brad Meltzer, illustrated by Christopher Eliopoulos. I am Lucille Ball. From Ordinary People Change the World by Brad Meltzer, illustrated by Christopher Eliopoulos. I am Lucille Ball. When I was a little girl, my mother tried to dress me in ribbons and bows. But I was different from other girls. My idea of fun was horsing around with my dad. He used to throw me up to the ceiling, always catching me and making me laugh. "Put her down right now! That's not a game for a proper girl." "I don't think this one's a proper girl." "Look, I'm a pelican. I lay eggs on your head." When I was 3 years old, the local grocer used to let me put on a show at his store. My favorite was this frog routine. Frumph, frumph. People thought I was brave for performing so young. It wasn't bravery. I was just doing what came naturally. That's not a proper girl. That's not even a proper frog. Customers paid me with pennies and candy, making these my first professional appearances. I had even more fun when my aunt used to let me work in her beauty salon. She'd let me do the hair of her customers' children. "Little girl, what are you doing?" "What comes naturally." "You're a porcupine." Soon after, the beauty salon went out of business. But my childhood wasn't all goofiness and games. When I was 7 years old, I went to live with Grandmother Peterson. She didn't like the way I played. In fact, she thought having fun was a bad thing. "What are you doing?" "Playing is fun." "Fun? Little girls aren't supposed to have fun. Not in this house." Instead, in her dark kitchen, she made me wash lots of dishes. "Not good enough. Do them again." "But Grandma—" "Little girls don't argue. Again." She didn't even allow me any mirrors in her house, except for the one in the bathroom. She thought they made you think too much of yourself. When I rode on trolley cars, I used to make silly faces at my reflection. Try it. You'll see so many possibilities. To Grandmother Peterson, little girls weren't supposed to be bold, sassy, or silly. As punishment, she'd send me to bed before sundown. I still remember lying there, hearing all the other kids playing outside. But no matter how tough those days were, I had one thing to get me through it: my sense of humor. On rainy days, I'd play on the back porch and make dolls out of clothespins. I gave them all personalities. You wouldn't believe the adventures we had. "What's that, Sheriff? You need a cowgirl to come to the rescue with a mask and big blue eyes and a sparkling personality? It's your lucky day. I got the roughest, toughest one right here. Here I come." There really is something wrong with that girl. My shows only got bigger. When I was 8, my mom moved us to a 3-bedroom house that was right by an amusement park. That's right, a real amusement park. I'd act out movies in our backyard. My friends and little brother were the co-stars. If they weren't there, I'd pretend the chicken coop was my castle. Our chickens would be my loyal army. "Avast, ye lubbers of land! 'Tis I, Peg-leg Lucy. I've come for your treasure. First mate Chicken Face, second mate Chicken Stink. Get your men ready. On 3, attack!" Walk! Is she talking to those chickens? The crazy part is, I think they're listening. By the time I was 12, I realized there was some real power in making people laugh. The principal of my school, a man named Bernard Drake, realized it too. He was the very first person to label my wild and fun behavior as talent. "That's what you have, Lucy. Work hard at it. When you do, people will pay attention." I took his advice. The next year, a friend and I put on our first amateur production, a play called Charlie's Aunt. It was the very first time I felt that wonderful feeling that comes from getting laughs on a real stage. How much did I love it? To have that starring role, I sold the tickets, swept up after, and even turned out the lights. No matter what your dream is, if you want it, you have to work for it. So that's what I did. Was I a bit too enthusiastic? Sometimes. When I was 15, during one musical, I did a dance with so much excitement I fell into the orchestra pit and dislocated my arm. I think something's in my tuba. That's my head. By the way, your breath smells like gorilla burps. When I was 17, my mom sent me to a fancy acting school in New York City. It didn't go as I planned. Speak clearly. Say water and horses. Water and horses. I said water and horses. That's what I said. Water and horses. How Midwestern. We have to change that. Can't you be a proper girl like your fellow student, Betty Davis? The teachers made fun of how I spoke. They said I had no talent, that I couldn't sing and couldn't dance. All the other girls laughed at me. They were tall and beautiful, and I was funny and different. Of the 70 students accepted to the school, they narrowed it down to 12. I didn't make it. I failed. Sorry, kid, you're not what we're looking for. From there, I tried being a dancer. Sorry, kid, you're not what we're looking for. But nothing changed much. Sorry, kid, you're not what we're looking for. I never let it stop me. At one point, I was so poor I was down to my last 4 cents. That's it, 4 pennies. To eat, I'd wait for a customer to leave a restaurant, and then I'd grab their leftover food before it got thrown away. I went to so many tryouts, I'd even wore out my shoes. What are you doing? Stuffing newspaper in the holes. I need to keep going. But no matter how hard I tried, the message never seemed to change. You're a nice kid, but you just don't have it. Why don't you go home and raise a big family? Eventually, I did find work. And then, with a bit of luck, I finally got my first big break in the movies. I was 21 years old and selected to be one of the girls in the background of the movie Roman Scandals. As the director came to inspect us all, I grabbed some red crepe paper, tore it to shreds, licked it, and here he comes. Lucy, what are you doing? Just what comes naturally. Ta-da! You're funny, kid. What's your name? Lucille Ball. I stood out from the crowd that day. From there, I got my first on-screen acting credit in a short football comedy starring the Three Stooges. Hey, guys, what are you... Splat! Nyuk, nyuk, nyuk. This guy is funny. Most girls didn't want those slapstick parts. I loved them. I knew how to make them even funnier. If you flinch when the pie hits you, the audience doesn't laugh as hard. I never flinched. It goes back to those days when my dad threw me in the air. I knew he was going to catch me. I knew I'd be safe. In time, that confidence led to the one role that changed my life. I had left the movies and was working in radio. Then CBS had a brand new idea for a TV show. It'll be a comedy about this wacky redhead and her husband. Great! I'll star in it with Desi Arnaz, my real Cuban musician husband. Babaloo! Lucy, it'll never work. There's no way the American people will watch that kind of couple. To prove them wrong, my husband, Desi, and I took our show on the road. We turned it into a vaudeville act. A vaudeville is an old kind of show with lots of funny skits. They call me Sally Sweet, I'm the queen of Delancey Street. When I start to dance, everything goes chick, chicky boom, chick, chicky boom, chick, chicky boom. That is not a proper girl. Isn't it great? It became such a big hit, CBS decided it was ready for TV. We asked for one thing, to film the show in front of a live audience. Hearing that audience, people at home would really feel the laughter. The TV network was worried about the cost of film. They said it would be too expensive. So we made a deal. They could pay us less money, but the show would belong to us. Places, everyone! On September 8th, 1951, the bleachers filled up by 8 p.m. I Love Lucy was ready to go, and there was nothing proper about it. Every episode, Lucy and Ricky, along with their best friends, Ethel and Fred, would get into a crazy adventure. If one piece of candy gets past you into the packing room, unwrapped, You're fired! Rap, rap, rap. This isn't so bad. Yeah, it's going too fast! Ack! Gulp. Gulp. Here she comes! Every week, America turned in to see what Lucy was up to. They wanted to see what new trouble I'd get into. Yes, by Vitamita Vegemin. It's a great big old bottle of Metamina Megamin. Meta Vita Vita Medi Map. And they wanted to see who else would show up. We had famous guest stars like Harpo Marx and Superman. That's right, Superman. Between 1952 and 1953, though the first TV bosses said no one would be interested, 2 out of 3 households with TV sets were watching I Love Lucy on Monday nights. Call Dr. Harris, the baby's coming! What was the secret of the show's success? It was the first thing I learned all those years ago. You can always find a laugh in what everyone else is taking so seriously. Today, people call me the greatest comedienne of my time, and one of the most beloved entertainers ever. But I was also the first woman to run a major Hollywood studio. Did you know she was nominated for an Emmy Award 13 times and won 4 times? And that she has 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She even has her own postage stamp. I just like that people still dress up as her for Halloween. Nice outfit. You too. Remember when I said that the TV show belonged to us? Our studio, Desilu, used the money from I Love Lucy to produce other shows like Star Trek and Mission Impossible. In life, people put me down because I was different from everyone else. They didn't like the way I looked, or the way I talked, or even the way I was always clowning around. This isn't a joke. Don't let other people change you. There's no such thing as a proper girl or boy. Be true to who you are. Go look in the mirror. When someone puts you down, that's who will pick you back up. When you get sad, that's who will help you laugh it off. To find true happiness in life, you have to do what you do best. Trust me on this. Every time you look in that mirror, your possibilities will be endless. She really got her own museum. Yep. She even got the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian award in the United States. Look, I'm doing what comes naturally. I'm wearing your stamps. You got moxie, kid. Don't be afraid to stand out. Do I got moxie too? No, you got stamps on your head. You look like a flower. I am Lucille Ball. I believe that humor can take on anything. We all need laughter, every single one of us. And for the best comedy, people have to believe in you. But for that to happen, you have to believe in yourself. I Love Lucy wasn't just the title of the show. It was my most important life lesson. In this world, the person you need to love most is you. Love yourself first, and everything falls into line. Lucille Ball. Timeline. August 6, 1911. Born in Jamestown, New York. 1926. First amateur theater performance in Charlie's Aunt. 1928. Moved to New York City to attend John Murray Anderson's School for the Dramatic Arts. 1933. Movie debut in Roman Scandals. November 30th, 1940. Married Desi Arnaz. June 2nd, 1950. Vaudeville act opened at the Chicago Theater. July 17th, 1951. Birth of first child, Lucy Desiree Arnaz. October 15th, 1951. First episode of I Love Lucy aired on CBS. 1952. Won first Emmy for Best Comedienne. January 19th, 1953. Birth of second child, Desi Arnaz Jr. April 26th, 1989. Died in Beverly Hills, California. July 6th, 1989. Posthumously awarded Presidential Medal of Freedom. The top photo is Lucy and Desi. The middle photo is a famous scene from I Love Lucy. And the bottom photo is Lucy, age 2.